Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Eachother Hour. Today we have two more Michigan State athletes. We have Theryn Hallock as well as Abbey Kimball. Two members of the women's basketball team. Had a pretty successful season. Didn't go too far in the playoffs or anything like that, but it was a fun season as freshmen, of course. Wanted to ask both of you guys, can you give the audience a little bit of a look into your lives? You both have known each other since 4th grade. Both grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. What is the timeline looking like for both of you guys?
You can go first. Go.
Yeah, so she played on our AAU team from like a very young age, and I joined the AAU team probably like 7th grade, and that's when we became like really close friends. But yeah, I mean, we practiced together during the off season, during AAU season, and got very close along the way. But then in high school, obviously it was harder to see each other. We lived like a half hour apart. So we got super close senior year, went on spring break together. And then ever since we got here, it's been an awesome journey. I mean, we push each other. We go to the gym a lot with each other. So it's been nice to have that bond and like that pass together just because we understand what each of us are going through and stuff like that. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, we like build energy off each other really well too, which is cool. I mean, typically two girls can't always like go 24 hours, 24/7 all the time together, and we collab really well and feed off each other's energy. So to be able to have that friend since a very young age and just to be able to be here with her and get the same opportunity and get to just play together on and off the court is definitely, we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, Abby, you mentioned the fact that you guys both know what each other is going through. I feel like that's a massive part. I came here from Massachusetts. One person from my middle school came here. As the only person I knew here at first. Never talked to them at all. But you guys have somebody who knows what you're going through, especially with the D1 athlete experience. You need that. You need someone to fall back on. Your parents aren't going to be here the whole time.
Right.
So you guys got that right now, which is really nice to see.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys first off, throughout this freshman season, been a lot of growth from both of you guys. As you guys got more minutes, how is it that changed your mindset to capitalize on those minutes to be the best you could be?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've looked at it more as like the point guard position. So when I got the opportunities, I was just trying to be really unselfish and create for my teammates. My minutes went up and down. It just depended on who we played and who the coaches thought I could match up against. So when I got in there, I just worked my butt off and hustled and played at my pace and just did everything for my teammates. So that's what I think was the most important for me.
Yeah, I think that like there wasn't obviously much room for mistake just because of the talent we had on our team and stuff like that. So whenever you would go in, you just had to do whatever it takes to stay in the game and to help your team out while you're in there. So I think we did like a really good job of like hustling on defense. That was like our main focus. And then like scoring when we need to score and stuff like that. So helping our team out mostly.
You guys had some great players on the team this year. D.D. Hageman, McDaniel. You also had Maddie Eck. A lot of good players. Did any of them mentor you a little bit or just kind of help you out as you're adjusting to the college atmosphere as freshmen?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like Mo Joyner helped us out a lot, and Julia Arol. Those are like our two main people that helped us out a lot just with everything like outside of basketball and with basketball. Just because, I mean, they both went through injuries and stuff like that. They know what it's like maybe not playing like so much during the season or like stuff like that. So they helped with the mental piece a lot. And so we're very grateful for them and what they brought to the table for us. But Matilda, she was really good to look up to, and Steph. They both played my position, so they helped me like grow with confidence and stuff like that. So very grateful for them.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to have Kamari on the team too. Like, it was helpful because she's obviously had a ton of experience. She's had 5 years. This was her 5th year here, and she came from 2 other teams. So to have her have all that experience, and she's just a great human to be around on and off the court. So she's just a really good teammate, trying to make you better. And for me, as like a point guard position, like I said, to have Dee there, I mean, she's been here for a year. She's gone through the experience. She's a great, skilled player, and she pushes me and holds me accountable all the time. So it's good to have her there as a point guard buddy too, because she'll push me. And I mean, honestly, all of them on the team were great teammates. They held you accountable, and it was just a good bond to have with everybody.
Yeah, the entire team looked like you guys were very close, very cohesive. I announced the Western Michigan game. That was one of the biggest things I did this year. I was really excited about that. One of the times I got to see both of you guys play, it was pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, as I was looking at your guys' stats throughout not this year, but it was senior year, one big thing I noticed, you both averaged over 6 steals per game as seniors. Seems like the defensive side of the ball is where you guys make your money. So I want to ask, what is it like focusing on that side of the ball when so many other people don't, and what do you do to really emphasize that side?
I would say for me, I mean, scoring hasn't always been my go-to. I mean, obviously in high school I had to because I was like the basketball player on the team. Like I was the only one that was like super serious, so I had to do my thing. But for me, if I were to get like 10 steals and 10 rebounds a game, I'd be happy. Like that's just the mentality. I mean, defense wins a lot of games, and to be able to stop teams from scoring and for you to get opportunities like whether it's in transition or not is definitely important. I think just to have the defensive mentality is really important because that can save a lot of games.
Yeah, I'd say defense is just effort. So, I mean, if you give like 100% effort, your offense is going to come. So that's how it's always been for me. And that's why I'm trying to even get better at here. Like I want to even be a better defensive player as we keep going. But that's just one of my main goals is to help our team out on defense, and offense will always come.
Both of you guys mentioned that effort is a massive part of it. Theryn, I noticed when I was looking at some stuff about your family, your dad has a little bit of a motto that he says where it is, make a difference. That's one of the things that's really stressed in your household.
Yeah.
Is that one thing that's kind of pushed you to work a little bit harder in the basketball room?
For sure. I mean, it's always been in my brother's room. It never was in mine, but it's definitely been like a saying that our family's had forever. And honestly, it doesn't even matter if it's in a sport or not. We want to make a difference in everybody's life. But obviously, sports is a huge part of our life. So to make a difference as a teammate, as a player, like it's always been there and stuck with me in my head, and it has been a huge part of my motivation because as I looked up to my brothers when they were in sports, they were always talking about making a difference, and they were trying to be a good teammate and doing whatever they could to make that difference. So it's definitely a huge thing that pushes me every day.
You mentioned looking up to your brothers in sports. Abby, I saw you looked up to your sister a little bit with softball. Mm-hmm. Both of you guys had a little bit of experience with different sports. Yours is soccer. I want to get into that after, but we're going to give a little bit of a question before that one. Yours is soccer. Abby, yours is softball. What was it like switching and making basketball as your main focus? For Theryn, you didn't really switch. You tried it for 1 year, killed it. We'll get into that a little bit more after. But for this one right now, what was it like deciding that basketball was going to be your main thing?
Yeah, so I played softball like growing up. Both my sisters and my brother played baseball. So I grew up around that the most, and I played 3 years up. So I was like, obviously I felt older than I was. And so I grew up a little faster just having those siblings and like those mentors in front of me. So right when I got around 6th, 7th grade, I started picking up a basketball even more, and like I kind of played it like on an AAU team. So then once I started playing, I'm like, dang, like they know a lot more than me right now about the game of basketball. So then as I learned more and more, like I was like, I like this game. I like the speed, the pace, the like physicality of it. I think that softball for me lacked that. It was kind of slower pace. Like I'd be mad if I got, one hit every like 2 games. I'd be really mad. So I'd be like, I want to make up for it right away. I want to make an immediate impact on the game. So I think basketball provides those opportunities. And so, yeah, but what's funny is we just joined a rec softball league, so I got to pick up a softball bat the other day, and it was fun.
Yeah, return to the roots for a little bit, get to experience it.
We did lose, but...
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. First game.
At least you chose basketball in the end here.
Yeah.
It worked out for the best. But no, so with that softball stuff, you mentioned the pace wasn't really for you. Was there anything that kind of stood out that you transferred into your basketball game? Maybe the work ethic, maybe just how hard you had to go in practice? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I'd say, like... just the effort. I put in a lot of effort for softball, like in my early stages of life. And my dad would always help me out with that. So when I transitioned to basketball, my parents were very helpful with that. And like they were like very supportive. So I think that also having those mentors in front of me, like, and they're a lot older than me. So I got to get a lot of inspiration from them and like a lot of leadership that I think helped me out throughout my high school experiences.
How much would you guys both say your parents were influential in your reaching this point in life? Theryn was an NFL player. He obviously knows what you have to do to be successful in sports. But for both of you guys, was your parents being in your corner something that really made Division I athletics a possibility?
Yeah.
I would say every day, every second, they're always there for me, and same for her. Like they just always had our backs through all situations. They know if we wanted to hear the truth or not, they were honest with us and what we needed to do to be here. So they're definitely a very key part in where we are and how we are today. So.
Yeah, they always supported our dreams too. Like they never thought it was like too far of a stretch to play in the Big Ten or anything like that. Like they always would send us to camps in the summer and be like, "You can make it. You just got to keep working hard." And so they're very supportive. Never doubted us.
You need that faith in your corner. It's just impossible to do anything in life. Whether you want to be even a businessman, you need someone saying you can do it, because you're not always going to believe in yourself. You need someone to fall back on. So who else had been in your life has been a supporter like that, who has been there for you to fall back on when you've been a little bit down on yourself, thinking, maybe I can't make it in this field, even though you both have?
Yeah, I'd say both of our coaches, Noelle Brown,
Yeah.
my high school coach, Coach V, God, honestly. We're very faithful people, so like looking up to God and stuff like that has always helped us. I felt like. What about you?
I would say, obviously my parents, and then obviously Noelle, like she said, our AAU coach, and honestly just my brothers. I know it's very like typical for people to say their family, but to have that family bond and to have those people behind you that love and care about you and are immediate with you, I think is very important. And those are definitely the people. I definitely have some friends that like weren't as much athletes that helped me too, because they were just kind of like an outside source that like they knew sports, but they like could stabilize it. Like they could kind of take their life
It's like an
and just,
outlet for you.
It's just like someone that you can just
Yeah.
talk to and like take a day off, go by the pool or something just for fun. So I think some of my friends just from home when a younger age too, like they just were there for an outlet, like Abbey said. So
I feel like even now too, like when it gets really stressful, like we're good at just like separating basketball from our own friendship sometimes. Like we don't need to talk about basketball or like stuff like that 24/7.
we barely do, honestly.
Yeah.
We're in the gym together like every
Yeah.
day. We just
We'll go to the gym, but then when we're out of the gym, it's like we got to have another life too, like where we can separate and differentiate the two.
yeah.
One massive thing we always talk about on this podcast is the mental health of athletes. I think that you guys doing that is just awesome. But you could see it with Michael Phelps. His whole life was swimming, and he became the greatest swimmer of all time. But he always comes out and says, I kind of regret it because he didn't have a life besides swimming. It was, I'll go to the pool, swim for hours, go sleep, go to the pool, swim for hours. And that's not how life is supposed to be lived. Happy that both of you guys have been able to escape that.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to ask, Theryn, you're talking about your family a little bit. How did having such success throughout the entire family, your dad, Ty, he played in the NFL. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Then your brothers also played football at MSU. How did seeing people reach the top of their position in the sport that they're playing affect your life?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just the one word for it is it's inspiring. I mean, I want them to live out their dreams. I think I'm very grateful to have athletes in my family, and I think it's really cool to have, especially my dad, who's gone to the NFL and has gone to the top level to play a sport, something really inspiring. I don't typically like to talk about it just because people are like, oh, your dad played in the NFL. And like, I'm not like that. Like that's just how it was. He grew up from a very small town in Michigan called Greenville. And you would have never guessed that he would have gotten there because of, I mean, his housing situation, just how Greenville was, like you would have never guessed. And so he put every single ounce of work and effort into that. And even right now, just when he's working, he's doing business, commercial real estate, like he has put every single ounce of his heart into what he does. Same with my brothers. So it's just really inspiring to see them go through that and to see the adversity they hit, but they don't let themselves get down. They push through it, and I think that's helped me along the way a lot.
I think seeing people transfer into other avenues obviously had to help a little bit too, seeing it wasn't just sports that I worked in, regular life too. You know that inspires you. And one thing I want to make clear, we were talking about Ty for a little bit. This interview is about Theryn. This one's not about Ty.
Yeah.
That's going to be the last question I ask about him. A lot of people, when they interview the sons or daughters of athletes, they'll get stuck on that for hours.
Yeah.
I've had Dante Bruschi, that's Teddy Bruschi's son.
Yeah.
I've had Cam Fourier, Christian Fourier. You might not know any of these names. These are Patriots legends. I'm realizing that a New England thing kind of, not really a Michigan thing. So I had a lot of players at my private school that I went to for high school. Their sons and daughters went to my school. Like they used to play for the Patriots a lot of time, and that was one of the main places.
That's cool.
Had a lot of interviews with them. But one thing that would always kind of stress me out was I wanted to make sure I didn't just ask them about their parents, because that would be boring. That's not what the story is about. It's about you guys. That's why you guys are here and why I appreciate you coming in. But the next question. In your senior year, you decided to try out soccer for 1 year.
Yeah.
All-American, Michigan Gatorade Player of the Year. What was that like for you? And I wanted to really, I assume this didn't happen because now you're playing at MSU. You're obviously in Division I athletes, or in athletics, I mean. Was there ever a thought, maybe I should try soccer after that?
You know, people, that's everybody's question. So I played soccer since like, I don't know, kindergarten or like the elementary schools. Like I did AYSO is what it's called, and just did it for fun. And then I started to do travel soccer until about 7th, 8th grade. So I had some experience with it, but then my coaches were really like, you can only do soccer. But then our AU coach, Noelle Brown, who we mentioned earlier, was very lenient with soccer and basketball doing it at the same time. So my love for basketball kind of went that way. And with having AU in the summer, typically the spring session for high school soccer was during AU time, so I wasn't able to do it all throughout my years. But then senior year came, and I was like, all right, well, I got to stay in shape somehow. Like, I want to have a good, like, last hurrah senior year with my friends on the that were on the soccer team at that time. So I finally told the high school coach that I was going to try out. And the second I got on the tryouts, I went through the first day, and I was like, dang, I didn't really lose my touch. I was, like, really surprised. I thought I was going to, like, botch every goal, like, do all this and that. But I just went in and put the work in and just have fun. I didn't really care. I mean, it was high school soccer. I was just going to have a good year. But yeah, we had the opportunity to come here and play a state championship here, and I had a lot of success, and I'm like really happy about it, and I don't regret the decision at all because I got to live it out my senior year, and I did get a lot of accolades, but that's honestly not what matters to me. It's just the point that I had fun, and that I was having the last good year with my best friend. So
Yeah, you got to enjoy it, stayed in shape the entire time.
Yeah.
You're ready for a great senior year.
Yeah.
Both of you guys, one experience I really want to dive in on, the Spartan All Access. That stuff amazed me to watch. It was about you, Theryn, but Abbey, you got part in it. You guys were roommates. You guys grew up together. You deserve a part in that. I would have been shocked that I left you out. What was that experience like for you guys?
I mean, it was definitely special. I mean, even like with this, like even just to have a spotlight on us, just to see like who we are as people, and just for people to get to know us more, is obviously we're super grateful for that. For me, for it being a little bit more about me, I was very grateful to hear the kind of things that like Abbey had to say about me, and our old coach Josie Merchant, and just for my dad to be involved, and just for people to get like a little bit of a outside view on us, whether it was on the court or off the court. I think they got to know us a little bit more, and just for me to have my story out there and just know that I'm going to be who I am, and the university to know that is super cool. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, her family's awesome, so that's all I got to say about that.
I think they'll be glad to hear about that for sure. No, that's really cool. It was a really cool experience to see because they put a lot of production value into that, and it was really cool to see them highlight you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the fact that you're getting a little bit of spotlight on you. Everyone loves a spotlight. We all like to play coy, act like, oh, I'm always humble. You love a little bit of attention for the hard work you've done. You guys have put in a lifetime of work into the athletics to reach this level. You deserve some praise for it. What you guys have done is not something that is just average. It's the outlier. It's unique. It's something that's special. I really appreciate you guys coming on so we can highlight that. This year, as we talked about the spotlight has been shined on women's basketball a little bit. Caitlin Clark, LSU championship. She was on LSU. She was on Iowa, but faced LSU in the championship. How did you guys feel about that? Her getting a little bit more attention for the sport.
I mean, I have every ounce of respect for Caitlin Clark. I mean, she is a heck of a player. She, not only can you see she's a great player, but you can tell in her interviews and what she does outside of basketball is that she's also a great human. She puts basketball as a major priority in her life, but she also gives to her people. And to see her take the downfall in the championship was upsetting for us just because we're in the Big Ten. We want the Big Ten to represent. We want them to win. And Lisa Bluter and them have a great staff and a great team there. So I have every ounce of respect for her, and I'm glad they got it there. It's really important for the Big Ten to get there, and for her to get there as well, just because she had so many accolades and so many deserving things that she was given this year. So I was really happy for her. Got a lot of respect for her. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching her for a little bit since high school, so I've always looked up to her game. I think that she's definitely like one of a kind, very unique. And I mean, I look up to her because I think she's like obviously one of the hardest working players out there. I've seen many interviews where she's always working, so that's very inspiring for us. Just because it's like we see other girls working and we want to work harder too. So it's like, we got to get in the gym even more. So she pushes us, and I think that having someone in the game that brings that much attention is very important. And I just hope that other kids take that as inspiring and follow her path.
Well, I think that competition is one of the biggest inspirations for everybody. It makes you want to work harder. One thing I didn't expect from you guys' answers that shocked me a little bit. Did not realize when you're watching from the outside, it seems like everyone will hate each other when they're on separate teams in the same conference. Kind of forget that you guys are normal people sometimes. So you guys aren't going to just hate the person because they go to Iowa. You look up to Caitlin Clark because she's a great player, someone that you want to emulate a little bit. Yeah. So want to know, when you guys are trying to decipher between competition and giving it your all and just being a normal person, separating the game from the person you're playing against, how is that process in your mind?
Well, on the court, it's all... You got to play the game. Like, there's no, like, friendship on the court. There's respect, but, like, we're going to go as hard as we can to try to stop her and limit her. I mean, this year we tried to lock her up and stuff like that. So, obviously, the game plan, we're not trying to let her go off for 30 so she can have a highlight reel. Like, you know what I mean? So, we respect her, but we also want to shut her down. I mean, it's just how the game works, and we're in it to win it. So,
yeah, I would agree. I mean, obviously, to be someone that's guarding one of the, in my opinion, the best player in the country is definitely something that's super inspiring and super, like, I would put my all into guarding her and just to try to hold her from her 20 points, even though she'll probably have her 20 points a game just because that's how she is. But, yeah, like Abby said, definitely putting that friendship aside for the game. And she would say the same thing about her best friends if she was playing them too. But But I mean, if like she fell, I think we'd both pick her up. Like we have great sportsmanship to her. Like we wouldn't be trashy to her, but definitely would compete with her and give her our all no matter what she did. So
that's just having that competitive drive.
Yeah.
You need to be like that on the court. You can't.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're playing against, hypothetically, if you guys were on opposite teams, you guys would still be friends off the court. If you guys were going right at each other, I imagine you wouldn't be trying to hold any blows back.
I mean, we did play each other once in high school.
Yeah.
Had to guard each other.
How'd
It wasn't
that
a good
one go?
game for my high school
We
team.
won by
'cause
30.
They kicked our butt a little bit. But I mean, we had to guard each other, and there's definitely some smiles here and there, but our competitive level was still where it was at. And I mean, that's what you have to do when you're at the game. You can't let your friend win all the time, so you gotta just compete. But that was definitely a once in a lifetime thing
and
for
it's
me.
not like we don't really know Caitlin either, so it's not like we just respect her a lot. So all the respect's there. So it's just on the court you gotta be aggressive and competitive. So it's just how it is.
Yeah, you can respect someone still giving your all against
right.
them. And when I mentioned you guys as friends, obviously you guys weren't going to be like elbowing each other or anything, but you're also not going to be resistant against pulling up a shot in their face. It's just how it goes. One thing too, for you, I really wanted to specify about this. You lost almost no games throughout your 3 years in high school. What was it like instilling that winning mentality before this?
Really.
Wait, what was the last question? She was.
You're all good. What I said was, what was that like for instilling a winning mentality into your brain before the collegiate season?
Yeah, I mean, we put in a lot of work to get that winning season. My freshman year was kind of rough, just because I was so young and the seniors and like people ahead of me weren't like really invested. So we put in a lot of work in the off season. Our team was really committed, and so I think that all motivated us to be like, we want to win a championship. And then obviously we ran into some obstacles. My sophomore year, COVID hit, so everything was done. And then my junior year, we had like the contact tracing stuff, and me and the other point guard got contact traced, so we had to be out for the regional finals. So and then they lost that game. So it's just been a roller coaster, but like that even drove us even more. And I think that winning mentality throughout our senior season was just really important coming into Michigan State, and especially our AAU season, because we played some really good teams, and that like our competitive game was really high. So.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. When you get to experience winning basketball like that, you understand what it's like in a playoff atmosphere. You understand how to keep the wins going and not just relax because you already have 14 of them. You know that you're going to get the 15th.
Yeah, our team didn't want to be like an average team too. Like we wanted to stand out and like create a name for ourselves. So it was fun.
When you go throughout that process of trying to be the people that stand out, what was something that was stressed by your coach to you?
Yeah, I think our team was very very together. Like we weren't in it for an individual or for I don't know, just one person. Like all of us were in it to win it together, and I thought that was like super important. Like if someone was getting shut down, we'd be like, hey, you got it, but we'd also turn to the next person and be like, you know, like you got to step up. So I think that we all believed in each one. We all believed in each other, and I think that was super important.
Yeah, so what I've noticed so far, it seems like both of you guys trust and want to help both your teammates. Theryn, one thing I want to ask you about, you claim that you're a pass first point guard right now. You want to help out your teammates. You wanted to break the assist record here, you were saying, too.
Yes.
What is one of the things that inspires you to want to help out your teammates instead of just going for yourself? Because a lot of people go for individual accolades, try to get the leading score. Leading assist men is one of the more shocking ones to want to go for.
Yeah, I mean, Abbey and I mean, for me, and Abby's talked about it before, and like the Spartan All Access thing was, I'm a very unselfish person. And I am on the court too. And I know I need to be selfish at sometimes, but to create for my teammates and to see my teammates go off, and for me to be that pass to them, or for me to like just support them in any way, is kind of like my number one thing. I mean, obviously I'm going to give my opportunities to get the layup or the three, but to be that person that will create that shot for Abbey per se, or whoever else is on the team, is definitely really important to me, because I want to be a part of their success. But yeah, I like to make people happy, and I like to put people in good positions to be successful. So I think that's just why I want to strive to get that assist record. And Theryn McCutcheon has it right now, and just seeing her represent the number 4 and to wear that jersey and see all the accolades she got is something that's really inspiring too. So yeah.
Would you say wearing her number drives you a little bit more?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I've been number 4 the whole time too, but for her to wear that, and even Kristen Haney, who was one of our old assistant coaches, who is now in the WNBA coaching, it's truly just I feel like it's like a GOAT jersey. Like I gotta represent number 4. So yeah.
I think that having that WNBA experience around you has been one massive thing for you guys, too. You get to see what it takes to perform at the highest level. Would you say, for example, Nia Clouden being around the team has affected your mindset at all? And if it has, can you give me an example of how?
Yeah, I mean, she was kind of in my position. She was kind of like a point guard. I mean, she played a little too. Just to have her around, I mean, Nia Clouden, like, we got to go harder. Like, she's just being in the presence, I think, push us a little bit. But also just her as a person. She's more quiet, but she will push us, and she knows what's best for the team and what's best for people individually. So to have her around was very helpful, just because she was just so kind and just like good for the program just in general, just because she's also gone through the experience as well. So to have someone that was recently just here and then now in the WNBA, to see her accolades and everything that she went through, and for her to be here as a peer and help us out was definitely inspirational.
Yeah, she definitely led by example. Like, I'll see her in the gym. Like, she's not obviously the loudest person, but like just seeing her in the gym working really hard. I mean, she's always working up like a big sweat. So just seeing her like doing that is really inspiring. And then like I had a workout during the season on like defense, and she was always giving me advice, like telling me what to do. Like, and I think that's super important, her just being involved like that. So she was definitely very helpful.
You mentioned how she works really hard in the gym. One thing for you, Abby, you had to work really hard at the beginning of the season. You had mono, you had to battle a back injury. What was it like coming back from that?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like new to me. I mean, I was really prepared at the beginning of the season, then that hit me. So it was kind of a little bump in the road, but nothing like I couldn't handle. And I had a really good support system through my teammates there and my family. But just coming back, having like a limited time, or what is it called? Limited minutes, like when I was coming back too. So I struggled with that because I would come in at like Big Ten play, and like all the opportunities from the earlier games would be gone. So just trying to earn my spot from then on. I mean, all I could do was just trust the process and work really hard. I was in the gym when nobody was really watching. So I take pride in that, and I know that like my journey is still ahead of me, and like God's with me. So yeah. Yeah,
it's tough to reach the finish line as one of the first crossers when you're starting so much farther back at that point. Theryn, one thing for you guys lived together. What was it like seeing that experience for Abbey from the outside?
It definitely took a toll on me, because to have someone who pushes themselves and pushes me be down for a little bit definitely grabbed my attention, just to realize that I got to do something for myself, and I got a lot of self-motivation out of that. I don't know if she ever realized, but there were a couple nights like I got emotional because she wasn't there like she always was. Like, her energy wasn't there as much, just because I know she wasn't feeling the best. So to see her go through that definitely made me come to a realization that there's going to be bumps in the road, and that we're going to have to fight through adversity individually, and most importantly together too, as roommates and best friends. So I was there for her. I wanted to just give her like a magical touch and have her be a lot better, but I definitely was there for her throughout it, and she was still there for me. No matter how tired she was or whether her back was hurt, it didn't matter what was hitting her. Like, she was there for me, and I promised to always be there for her too. So
that's massive that you guys had each other for that. Having someone to lean on like that is huge, especially if they're a roommate like you guys are. Yeah. I really love to see that. So while you were coming back from back injury, from mono, I imagine you had to deal with some mental struggles of how do I deal with not really being able to do anything right now?
Yeah.
Mono is one of the worst illnesses. One of my friends had lost like 20 pounds, didn't go to the gym for months. Terrible situation. So what was it like for you, not just the physical side, but trying to get over the mental aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, mentally at first I was just like super drained, because I was just like, all I could think about was how tired I was, and then how frustrated I was that I'm going to be set back, because I worked really hard, like conditioned like super well. Like, felt like I was ready for our first game, and then like that hit me. And so then when I came back, it was like, dang, like I'm super out of breath, like I'm super this, whatever. So I think that took a mental struggle on me, but I also knew that I could be there for my teammates, and like over time I'm going to get back. And I think that that's where like faith comes in, where like I know that this is going to work out. And I think that I had some bad days, like, don't get me wrong, but like I tried to just keep faith through it all. And I knew that it's not going to last forever. So
you guys keep mentioning faith. The last two interviews I've had, Lexi Alston as well as Rayvon Foley, we brought faith as well. I went to a private Catholic high school. It's a massive thing to be able to rely on that when you're down to your darkest point. Yeah. Kind of just gives you someone, even if you can't see them physically, that's an omnipresent kind of person who can just you can lean on and trust. Really helpful thing. Have you guys always been faithful, or is that something that developed more as you got farther into high school, or how'd that stuff go?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a Catholic family. So I've always been surrounded by it. I went to a private middle school and then, or all throughout my K through 8. And then high school, I went to a private Catholic high school. So I think that really played a big part because we'd have classes like that and we'd have, Sunday readings and stuff like that. So just having that engraved in our system and going to church at school, like on Tuesdays we'd have to wear an Oxford, get a detention if we don't have an Oxford on. But just having that, like, it just was super nice, especially when sometimes you feel like you don't have time for it with like tournaments or something like that. Like you'd always be present with him through school and stuff like that. So I think that was really important in my development as a person.
I would agree. I mean, I didn't go to a Catholic school or like a private school. I went to a public school, but throughout my whole young ages, we went to church a lot. And then obviously as my brothers who were older than me started to get into travel sports, we were home all the time on the weekend. And then I started getting into travel sports. So we would watch it on like our phones or iPads because ours would have a live stream or like a YouTube. And then obviously when COVID hit, it was like more popular to watch it online. So we got watching that. And I mean, we've always had faith, whether we didn't, sometimes there was times we didn't go to church and sometimes we couldn't or didn't watch it. So, but we still had God on our shoulders and we knew that he was there. And we obviously always know that God has a plan for everybody. So to keep that faith is really important just because you're not going to always have people to turn on. And you're going to have him to turn on and he's guiding his path for everybody. So I think it's really important to rely on it.
I agree with you completely on that. You won't always have someone to turn on. Luckily this year you guys have had someone to turn on, each other. It was really a massive thing. As you guys have grown up together, we talked about earlier, how has that affected your chemistry playing on a team together now?
Yeah, I mean, she's always been there, like good or bad days at practice, good or bad games. Like, it's been so nice to have someone that knows you, like, inside and out. Like, just know, like, your personality in basketball and outside of basketball. So I think that that's where, like, we understand each other on a different level than, like, other people might think they know us. So it's, like, I feel like just having each other there for that support system has been huge. And, like, we can be honest about everything with each other, whether it's like, Theryn, you're not working hard enough, or like, stuff like that, which usually she is. So don't get me wrong. But like just having each other, like have like that raw like chemistry with each other has been super nice. Like we can be blunt with each other.
Mm-hmm. We definitely bring the laughs and the goofy. Like I would say people can argue with us on our team that we're the two most positive people on our team. We always come in with a smile on our face. We're very consistent. And I think that helps the team a lot because obviously you're going to want to have people that bring you up, not people that bring you down. So we bring that energy every day. We're always laughing, making people laugh, making obviously a fool of ourselves
sometimes
half time.
Too much.
Yeah. But to have that chemistry with your best friend and to try to bring that to a team is really important and special. Not a lot of teams have that and get the opportunity to have that. So it's definitely something very unique and something that we take pride in.
You need someone to be the energy person. I'm happy that you guys have taken the mantle for that. During the Spartan All Access, Abbey mentioned that you're kind of a hype man for the team. You're always the hype man. How did that develop? How was that taken as your role at a point?
It kind of falls back into how I'm unselfish. I want everyone to be happy. I hate seeing people sad. I don't like people getting down on themselves. Like I just want to be that number one supporter for everybody. I want people to, whether it's an easy layup or a really tough layup with a great move, I'm going to be the first person off the bench clapping and making a fool of myself. And I got announced for our team to be like the sportsmanship award, which is pretty cool. So I didn't even know that was an award, honestly, but to
like,
get
nice.
that accolade and just, I don't know, at the end of the day, I want to be the best teammate, and that's always been my number one thing. So I just want to be, whether it's a really small clap or like obviously for me it's a really obnoxious jumping off the bench kind of clap, but
yeah, usually cover me and I'm like,
yeah, but I do all the celebrations. I just want everyone to be happy and I want everyone to feel like what they did was really well done, and I'm going to make sure that's going to happen from my point of view.
Yeah. I feel like we both want to see like the success of everyone, no matter if it's ourselves or other people. Like we want everyone to be their best, and I think that that's like super special to have, because I mean nowadays people want to tear you down instead of tear you up, or build you up. So I think that that's super important.
One massive thing, you guys mentioned that people do sometimes want to tear you down. They also want to just help their own success. They might be trying to get their own highlight reel type play, but instead you would pass it off, as you said, or you might be able to give a little bit extra celebration instead of trying to kind of just look tough in the moment. You don't mind embarrassing yourself. One thing that comes with that is confidence. You have confidence to be able to stand there. If someone else thinks it's embarrassing, you're not going to think it's embarrassing. That's fine. Yeah. So how did you both develop your confidence to the point that it is now? Because you both seem like pretty confident people.
I mean, for me, I didn't really care what people thought about me at the end of the day. I'm going to do me. My dad always told me that you can't let people and their opinions affect your life and the way you do it. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to be me. If people want me to do what they want me to do for them, I'm going to do it. If people think it's embarrassing for me to jump up and do stupid celebrations, I don't care. I'm going to do it because that's going to push people to do their success and to do their thing. And that's just how I've grown up. So I'm not going to let other people's opinions contradict what I'm going to do or what I'm feeling. So I think that just helped me along the way in general.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows I'm pretty goofy. So, like, if I do something to embarrass myself, I'll do it anyways, like, without intentionally trying to do it. So, I think I'm very confident in, like, who I am as a person, and I won't let, like, anyone change me because they want me to be different. So, I think that has to go back to, like, how I've grown up with faith and stuff like that, and just knowing that, like, I'm good enough for anything and anyone, so just believing in that and, like, knowing that, I mean, it's fun to be embarrassed or, like, sometimes. Like, it's just, like, have fun with life. Like, don't take things too seriously. Like, I think that, honestly, the most embarrassing moments are probably the most memorable. And so I just take it as, like, you know what? It's all right. Like, not anything's too deep, so.
They're easily the most memorable. Almost every time. If you're embarrassing yourself, it's usually going to be a good story.
I mean, I don't really care. You can make all the fun of me all the fun of me if you want. I don't really care.
I don't either.
My
life, I'm going to do it.
Aaron makes fun of me all the time. So.
Well, we do build off our energy. But there's, like she said, she does have a goof side to her. And so it's just, sometimes it just goes buff. But it goes buff for me too, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got both of you there to reel yourselves back in. That's good to have that. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that stands out in particular as a unique experience you don't think many people have had in their life?
I mean, sports-wise,
this whole year.
Yeah, this whole year. I mean, with the shooting and just the coach Susie being done, and we're getting a new coach now in the beginning of our sophomore year. Just, I don't think any freshman has had to go through that much adversity. Definitely freshmen have the worst year, I would say, just because they're trying to fit in. They're trying to do all these things. And for us to go through a world tragedy with the shooting and a coaching change definitely was something different. But it also brought a lot of light into our life to see how grateful we are for the opportunity still, and to also know that God has a plan and he puts roller coasters in your life for a reason. And we got through those pretty well too, and easily. I feel like it could have been a way different roller coaster, and we could have went downhill. Our mental health could have been very sporadic, but we stuck together and our team stuck together, which is really important. So I would just say those two things specifically, and just freshman playing time and stuff. Obviously that's going to suck too sometimes, but I think we handled it and adapted really well.
Yeah, I think us coming together, like, as a community, not even our team as a whole, but, like, just our community coming together after that was very big. And, like, I think it inspired, like, almost everyone to be like, all right, like, we need to make a change, and, like, we need to honor their lives instead of look at, like, what is negative about the situation. So just, like, looking at life as, like, a positive instead of like all the negatives. Like, I think that looking at it like that is very big. And I mean, plus, like, my own, like, injuries and stuff like that, like, on top of that own freshman year, definitely was very challenging, but definitely something that I learned from.
Theryn, one thing I want to talk to you about, when you were getting kind of scouted by everybody, they started doing it in middle school for you. Grand Valley State University started looking at you there, and then one of your first D1 offers was Western Michigan University. How was it playing against one of your first supporters on the field or on the court this year?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was fun. I don't know if you knew this, but one of Abbey and I's best friend, Allie Carlson, played for Western, is also a freshman. So to get to play her and to get to play that staff, which Abbey and I both grew really close with, was something very special.
No, you guys are good.
Oh my God, my headset's on. Oh my God.
Did something happen with the Western Michigan coaching staff?
No. It was just funny because we have a good relationship with
Allie.
them. Yeah.
Okay.
And, like, their whole like team is.
We just had a lot of laughs with them.
Yeah.
Like, their coaching staff is like, there's a couple younger, like, assistants, so, like, they're, like, I guess closer in our age, so they're just, like, relatable, and, like, we just had a lot of laughs with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, to play against them was definitely special. and memorable just because, like I said, we got really close with their staff. And just to play against one of our best friends is something really special and on our home court. But it definitely it made me still very grateful that I had the opportunity to play there as long as here. It was definitely a very special experience, and I'm never going to forget that game, honestly.
There's one thing that comes special when you have young coaches around, too. Yeah. They understand what's going on in your life. They kind of just finished it. It can be different when there's 20 years between the coach and when they're your age, but if they're like 25, 24, they understand exactly what you're going through. Are there any specific coaches for you guys that have been like that in your life that have shown you a positive side and kind of pushed you forward in a positive kind of viewpoint?
I would say that our trainer, Mertzi Klein, she's like similar in age to us. She's like mid-20s maybe. Mm-hmm. But she works for I'm Possible, and it's like they train like NBA players and stuff like that. But she's a little branch off of the main guy, who just started a movie with Adam Sandler, which is cool. But
Michael Lancaster, that's his name.
Yeah, and so we trained with her, and she's been really, really cool to just like talk to, like about life and like about basketball. Like she's always there for me, like, and her, like whenever we're struggling with something, she'll be like, all right, we need to do this, you know, like put some. I think we wouldn't be like the same players we are without her. Like, I mean, she teaches us all these different kinds of footworks and
she's also like
different moves.
The first person to text us when something happens, or like
very invested.
Yeah, whether it's positive or negative.
And basketball player.
It's really nice to have that as a trainer and a friend, kind of almost in one. Mm-hmm. Definitely when we get on the court together, it's business, but she's always making sure that we're okay mentally, physically, and always just a good person to rely on because she's also played and trained a lot in her life. So it's definitely someone very trustworthy, and that's nice to have going through this process as a freshman and just a college athlete in general.
Having a trainer that you get along with is huge. That's something that can make everything so much better because you're seeing them almost every day at that point. You're going to interact with them all the time. If you can get along with them, it's just going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
One thing I noticed in particular for you, Abbey, it was PowerStrength. They were your trainers at one point, the program. Got some numbers here. 7 inches added to your vertical jump, 18 inches added to your broad jump.
Okay.
Yeah, very specific, right? They're pretty cool stuff. Yeah. 7 inches might be about half of my vertical jump right now, so that's pretty impressive. You got that just through the training.
Yeah, my vertical jump was not good before I went there. I'll just say that.
So how have they affected your game and adding on to your athleticism? How they kind of just changed all that stuff for you?
Yeah, I mean, going in, one of my teammates was like, you should go with me to PowerStrength one time. And I was like, okay, like I'll go. And so like right away, their personalities first and foremost, like I connected with them like so quick and right off the bat. And like they're just very personal people, but they get on you to work super hard. So they've pushed me, I mean, way farther than I think I've ever pushed myself in the lifting standpoint, and I think that translated over to basketball too. But I mean, when I went there in my sophomore year, I was like super skinny, like a stick, and now like throughout my to my senior year, we trained like 5 times a week, super hard. Sleds. I did some personal training with. I'll give a huge shout out to Brian. He's one of my trainers, and I couldn't be more thankful for them. They gave me a lot of muscle, and I can't be more thankful than, like, I can't speak. I couldn't be more thankful because they put in a lot of time and effort with me, and I'm just really grateful for them and the experiences I got to experience there.
I think there's nothing worse, Abbey, than when you start a sentence knowing where it's going to go and that starts to trail off. You're like,
it was a love-hate relationship. I mean, it was all business in there. It was super hard. I mean, an hour of hell, if I must say. But I had a really great time. They made it worth it. Their personalities were awesome. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go through a little bit of hell to emerge at pearly gates like you are right
now. That's how you get better. So pain is how you get better. And they had all those signs in there, and I'd look at them, and like they motivate you. And so that's one thing that I'm really thankful for. They pushed you past your limits.
I imagine at some points you're looking at those signs like, that damn sign better be right, or I'm going to be real mad here.
Yeah.
So as we start to wrap up the show, Theryn as well as Abbey, do you guys want to give any shout-outs to anybody who helped you get to this point? It can be your family, it can be your friends, it can be anybody at all. Say it to the camera.
Obviously a family. I feel like we got to give them a shout-out.
Yeah, family,
love them. But
sure.
Honestly, all of our trainers and Noelle Brown, and honestly,
high school coaches.
Yeah, Susie Merchant too, for getting us here. I know she's not our coach anymore, but for us too, specifically, we got really close with her throughout the recruiting process and just our first year. Definitely very grateful for the opportunity she gave us, and definitely hits us a little bit that she's not there for us anymore as a coach, but she'll forever be a coach in our hearts. So shout out to her and the whole staff, Dean Lockwood, Kristen Haney, and Maria Fantana Rosa.
Yeah, and all the surrounding staff, because they played a big part in like outside of practices and stuff, and like they did a lot behind the scenes. So I think that that's very important and to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Michigan State's coaching staff, one of the best things about them, is just how personal they are. The fact they can actually look at you guys not just as players, but as people too. They make sure you're doing good outside of the sport. A lot of the coaches will just focus on, are they doing good in the game? Are they scoring enough points? If they're focusing on your mental health, making sure you guys are okay, that's something special. I really am happy to see that for you guys. Well, this was episode 25 of the Jodas Hour with Theryn Hallock as well as Abbey Kimball. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in episode 26 next time.